Right, call the City of Richmond meeting to order. Everybody please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. First item up for the evening is the approval of June 1st meeting minutes. Is there any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion. Tessa, do we have anything that needs to be added onto that?
To the meeting or the agenda?
No, this
The
is the,
agenda,
We're doing the agenda.
Approving the agenda, sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a sheet with additions, just the
Just the
resolution.
152-16? Okay.
Yes.
One gambling one, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I have 3 items too I'd like to bring up too.
Okay.
Under miscellaneous or whatever.
You want to bring them under council action?
That, it's just for discussion and they can act on it if they want to.
On go under 11 then? Other matters concerned?
You want to wait
Yeah.
till then, or do you want them
Yeah.
underneath?
No.
Okay.
11's fine.
None, fine, okay.
All right.
Okay, I make that motion then. To
Second.
include the 115, resolution 115-16, cash, the Catholic Financial
We have a
Council.
motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of meeting minutes for June 1st. Any questions or comments?
See,
If there's none, I look for a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of bills to be paid. Is there any questions or comments about the bills?
I have a quick question. Did our computer format change? Because normally with when we pay the bills, it kind of does sometimes also a breakdown, and also
Maybe I
where
printed
and also
the
where
wrong-
things are, who we paid them to.
I could have printed the wrong report.
Because that could have been, because if you look at the copy that we have, it basically shows, the bills paid, for June of 2016.
But doesn't give you the codes of where it went
But
to and what.
exactly, it doesn't give, more or less, sometimes I usually have a breakdown
Okay.
from where it was paid and then also what was actually purchased.
I'll look at some previous meetings and get the right
Okay.
one for the
All
next.
right, that's the only thing that I noticed. It just seemed the format seemed to change when I looked at it. I was like, whoa, it seems just a little different, but,
Okay,
okay.
perfect.
Other than that, I'll make a motion to approve the bills paid.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda for this evening. Item A is Resolution 146-16, approval of June 2016 journal entries. Item B is Resolution 147-16, acceptance of June 2016 donations. Item C, Resolution 148-16, authorization of lawful gambling tax exempt off-site lease and gambling permit for Richmond Lions on July 15th, 16th, and 17th, 2016 at St. Peter and Paul Church. Item D, Resolution 149-16, authorization of tax exempt gambling permit for Richmond Civic and Commerce at Jerry's Firehouse and Grill on July 22nd, 2016. Item E is Resolution 150-16, authorization of lawful gambling premises permit application by River Lakes Hockey Inc. at the arena. Item F is amend our legal description, Exhibit A 23.13518.0010 of Ordinance 2016-100. Item G, authorization of payment number 3 to Maple Avenue South. Item H, acknowledge People Services June 2016 written report. And item I, resolution 152-16, authorization of Minnesota lawful gambling LG 220 exempt permit for Catholic United Financial Council at the St. Peter and Paul Parish Center on August 28th, 2016.
make that motion.
I have one question though, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Before we do that, let's, so the public knows what the donations were that were done for, with I think the Yeah, resolution 147-16. Just explain to the public what that was, or,
The donations are as follows. Richmond American Legion donated $300, and that was for the music in the park. And the Richmond Lions Club donated $15,498.50. It was for landscaping, the gate, and the lake maintenance out at the park.
out at the park?
That's what
Okay.
they make their donation that way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that,
I
Tim.
made a motion.
With that clarification, I make a motion second. I second the motion.
Yep, second. No problem.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 6 for this evening is the bike shelter.
Knife River is going to put a 12 by 12 cement slab out there for the bikes and then put the shelter on that. Since it's on city property, we just need to do the formality as far as approving them to put it out there. There's no cost to anybody.
Where is out there?
Where are they putting that bike shelter again?
Through the Blue Bike
Blue Bike,
project.
yes,
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
but where is the
Request.
location of the 12 by 12 going?
Would be south of the current shelter, the pavilion.
Okay, so it's going really close to Pavilion.
Yes.
Correct.
Right, next to
Okay.
Pavilion.
Is the shelter that they're building, or the storage, going to statistically match what we have?
Yes. And it's an overhang and with a bike rack.
Okay,
It's-
basically, there's no walls or anything?
No
Okay.
walls, no.
No.
As long as it matches, not that we're just going to move in a,
We brought the plans, the Blue Bike brought it to Kevin's and had him come over and look at it and to make sure, we don't want
Okay,
to put-
great. Gotcha.
now, do we have to, since it's going south there, do we have to worry about the DNR? There was
yes.
some DNR stuff
Yeah, we
that,
have, the Blue Bike, we have to talk to the DNR.
no, I mean the location of this building, because I know that that building had to be in a certain location when they built it
Correct.
with the trail. Anyway, so as long
Yep,
as it's cleared by all the interested parties.
yep, yep.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right,
Hey,
Opposed? Carried. Fee schedule.
So we have a few extra pools that are going to in-ground or larger pools than the 3,000 to 4,000 gallons. So we should probably look at increasing it for anything larger than 6,000 gallons. I know the tanker only holds about 3,000 gallons of water. We've filled a 30,000 gallon pool, so that was 10 trips. Yeah. So with only a $50 fee, we need to start looking at maybe upping it for larger pools.
well, should we look at it so much a trip?
That's up.
That's one way to look at it. I guess there's a minimum and then so much, 1,000 gallons?
Right.
But that's
know.
what we currently have.
We
Some of
currently
it.
have $5
currently
per
have-
thousand. Yep. So it's up to you guys if you just want to do a base fee or if you want to do so much a trip or,
The $5 per thousand pays the water cost.
That's about it.
yeah.
That's,
Right. Yep.
it's the same as commercial water rate.
Back this up one step. Is it done by volunteers or is it done by our own in-house people?
Fire department
department.
volunteer.
Volunteers, so if we really would have to pay somebody, they're not, we're not getting close.
Well, but if you think of the gas and the maintenance and stuff on the trucks
That's
that
my
they're.
next thing is we do have maintenance and stuff in the fire department as well.
Yeah.
The other thing is I don't think it should be just in-ground pools because there's a lot of above-ground pools now that are well over 6,000 gallons as well. We've
Like
actually,
somebody said, just pools.
Yep.
yeah, just
you
leave
know.
it as
Make
pool,
it, yep.
period.
And right now, your federal mileage right now is 54 cents a mile.
Yep.
So you can take it, look at it like that, and go by mileage on wear and tear in your vehicle anyway.
The thing is, are you gonna separate if, let's say, somebody wants one load, 3,000 gallon pool, are you gonna charge them the rate that we've been charging, the $50 plus the 5, or? I just don't wanna see we leave it at that and you say, okay, Mike, you bring it out this week, I want 3,000 gallons, and oh, by the way, I'm gonna call you next week, can you bring it out again? Because now I just circumvented your 6,000 gallon project. You know what I'm saying? If you leave
Yeah.
it just as a base, I can see somebody doing that, just say, well, I'm gonna order one on Monday.
10 times, it'll cost you $500.
Exactly.
$50
Minimums.
every time.
Just for the minimum,
But
yeah.
if you're gonna go up to the rate that we have written in there now, it's still cheaper to do it that way than to go the other way. I just think we have to come up with something that, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna change the fee schedule till the end of the year anyway, at this point.
Yeah, we would amend
Amend it for
Yeah.
now.
And then now,
amend it now, because now is where we're starting to see the use.
get
and-
more of them?
Yep,
Yeah. It's gonna only get hotter
yep.
if it's costing us money.
So would you like to amend it to what she has in the green on our piece of paper here or not? Or
I'm open to suggestions. That was just a starting point.
I asked her to write a number in there, that way we at least had some place to start off of.
Maybe that's to the high side. I think maybe.
Yep.
Maybe $100 bill even to move a truck around here isn't too bad. Maybe we can solve this problem easy. Where's the fire department one here? We have, right here, what do we pay for a tanker? For additional usage of tankers outside of.
Bulk
fire.
water?
Where, you see it?
Yeah. Here, too.
Yeah,
Right here, water.
Bulk water.
$50.
Okay.
The tanker only is $26.25. Is that what you're getting at, Pat?
Well, yeah, but that's $2,625 to rent a tanker for the first hour.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody fall on their head on that, I'm sorry. But anyway, I say $100 bill, and then so much $1,000 on top of that is the minimal that truck rolls for.
My recommendation, excuse me, is we don't want to change the 1,000 any lower than $5.
Oh, no.
No.
So much $1,000 with that.
Yeah.
So you want this for any size pool is what you're saying,
You
right?
bet.
Okay.
It's gonna cost you $100, otherwise you have your pump run, or you buy it from the city, or wherever you go, and the thing is, we look at our water being somewhat reasonable, but we treat this, we take the iron out, we do all kinds of things to this. It's not just
Right.
regular well water.
Nope, it's costing us
So
money.
are you looking at $100 every time the truck rolls up with a load? Right now, if you filled up, let's say a 6,000 gallon pool, it costs you $80. You pay the $50 for the first load, and then you get charged $5 per 1,000 gallons
1,000.
after that. It comes out to $80. That's what we're charging to fill it, make 2 trips out.
For
to-
$6,000, I think, okay.
You know, and that's where our discussion was, that maybe that $50 should be per load, or
Per load.
$100 now per load. You know, we're not in the business of giving water away either.
No, definitely not.
Right.
And the volunteer time is volunteer time. What happens if they say, no, nobody has time to volunteer to do that?
I think the $50 was based on gas.
Yes,
and
It
that's
goes
what-
up and down and up and down. Gas is roughly in the $20 to $25 for 4 miles.
Right, but that's what I'm saying right now, just in the federal rate, right now it's 54 cents.
Yep.
And that's,
The thing is
Not
most of the
trucky.
pools we're filling are not in the city limits. Most of the pools that we're filling are the ones we're going out of town to fill. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we only filled 1 or 2 that are actually in the city limits. The rest are all outside the city. So would you be willing to go to $100 and do it per load? So if you come out with the second load, it costs, so virtually 2 loads would cost you $115, right? For 1 load.
The
If you went,
first one would be,
If you went-
$115, and then go down to $50 a load.
After that?
After that tells me that, hey, there's a base here that we have to pay somebody, and then from there on,
So if we make 3 trips out, they're gonna pay $100 for the first trip, and then they're gonna pay $50 for the next 2 trips.
right, but with the gallonage on there.
Right.
and the gallon on it.
Yeah, say
it'd be
it's a
$75.
$9,000,
9,000 gallon, yeah,
Yeah, so then they pay the $5 on the 9,000 plus
plus.
another, really 200.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So on that last one, they did 10 trips, you're looking at 450, 550 plus the mile, plus the gallons.
Correct, $550.
So,
That's 10 loads.
But I don't know where the mileage was, you know,
Right.
how many hours was this guy pumping this water, you know? 10 loads or whatever. I mean, was it 2 hours? Was it 4 hours to do this? How many miles out of town? Does anybody know?
I think he did it over 3 days, 3 evenings. Did a couple
So-
loads one night, couple loads the next, until he had it done.
I mean, that tanker roughly is $120,000 rolling down the road.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know. I mean, 150, I think.
I make motion on the floor that the first load is minimum of $100 plus gallons of water at the present rate. Second, 3 loads or whatever would be at $50 a load.
Additional loads.
Additional loads would be
Additional loads
50.
would be
Thank you for that
$50.
verbiage.
Yeah.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
I do have one. You know, just to get this thing going, but I think something maybe we just want to make sure that we do get this, the cost, you know, maybe make sure that, you know, the cost for some of this mileage and stuff, it doesn't exceed, or doesn't, you know, is short, I should say, more than anything else. You know, just take a peek at it, you know, I mean, just the $100 one, just make sure that does cover everything we got, so.
Pat, can I add one thing to your motion?
Go ahead.
That they have to sign a waiver form, that the city's not
Well,
responsible.
that's, I've got it down here as pools, that we're not liable, plus it has to be according to code of
State
the
and federal.
local, state and federal code.
Right.
All right. Any other
Whether
discussion?
that's gonna hold up a lot of water, you know what I'm saying, but at least we have a start.
Yeah, talk with Matt, and like I said, as long as Matt clarifies that, so.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Carried. At this time, we'll move on to the police report. Chief Chris Boucher.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Chris.
We're here tonight to talk about the months of April and May. You should have them out in front of you, right? Everybody's got what you're looking at? All right, so the month of April in the city of Richmond, there was 109 calls. 9 of those were emergency medical calls, 7 suspicious vehicle people calls, 3 open business doors and or windows, 71 traffic stops. In those traffic stops, there was 70 warnings, 22 citations. There was 19 miscellaneous calls for police-related services. In the month of April, there was 4 drug violations that occurred during traffic stops, and there was an assault, an incident involving an assault in the city of Richmond that was investigated. Number 2 is May for 2016 for the city of Richmond. There was 122 calls in the city of Richmond. There were 7 medical emergencies, 10 suspicious people, vehicle reports, 6 liquor licenses were renewed, 74 traffic stops. In those 74 traffic stops, there were 65 warnings and 28 citations. There was 25 miscellaneous calls for police service, and there was 5 drug-related violations in those traffic stops. On May 10th, I did speak with 35 homeschool kids. They came from various locations. I can't say they were all from Richmond. There were some kids from Richmond that attended that. We talked about various topics, drug-related, alcohol-related, just a bunch of different things there. On May 17th, I did 2 demonstrations at the Sartell Oak Ridge Elementary School for their 4th grade class. How I got roped into that, one of the county attorneys has a daughter that goes to school there. So I, of course, I said yes to that. May 31st, Cold Spring Mayor Bob Thielen and your city administrator, we went to local businesses and gave them certificates of appreciation for their canine donations. And if you've seen the Cold Spring records, some of their photographs were in there, thanking them for their donations. I believe it was the State Bank of Richmond was in there, and Gilk Plumbing and Heating. We did Gilk Plumbing and Heating because they just changed their names. So we have new owners, so it kind of gave them a little plug into their new business. Number 6, June 1st, Officer Reverman went to the River of Life Church and did a fraud and scam talk presentation. I don't think we've done this one so far in Richmond, but I know there has been talk with the State Bank of Richmond to set something up. I think it was setting up at one of the churches or something like that, or at the school. So that I know is coming up. I don't have the date in front of me, but I do know that he is in the talks with that. June 27th, I did attend a River Lakes Day Committee meeting here in this building. And then number 8, the very last thing is we're actually doing a background on we have 2 open positions for part-time officers, and we're currently doing the background on the two people that we had picked. And there again, your city administrator was part of the interviewing process for that. So it's about where it stands. If there's any questions. All
I
right.
think are we all on board for River Lakes days for next week?
Yes, River Lakes, we have, it's pretty much exactly what we've always had.
Sure.
Three officers for Friday night, and then we have 3 Friday night, 4 on Saturday night. And then that does not include the number of officers helping during the parade. That's a much larger number. We have an officer that's stationed at the very beginning of the parade, just to prevent people from going down that particular street. Kind of helps, makes vehicles move and maybe they listen a little better. And then I do know we have at least 3 of us that are helping they're in the parade and or getting cars and stuff cleared prior to the parade. So what we've had in the last, since like 2006, I think, is when we pretty much start doing that. We go 7, I don't recall off the top of my head, but it's exactly what it's always been, 3 and 4. We've had 3 and 4 for years. Under the current contract with the City of Cold Spring, those hours are 100% paid for. So it's not like you're gonna see an additional bill. Under the current contract, you guys get 1 free event. River Lake Days as a whole is that event that you guys have chosen to be the one. I know it roughly is, all said and done, it's like 30 to 40 hours that are entailing that event. So it is quite a few hours that are put in there. And then after the event is all done, I typically give you guys a breakdown of how many hours were spent during this whole event. So it kind of gives you guys an idea of what was all involved in that. So I would say, and we're trying to get a little better and getting you know what I mean? I know this is April and May. We're in July. We only have Angie's the one who punches in the numbers, so it makes it very difficult for her to stay on task. All it takes is like tonight we had somebody got picked up at our PD. They got arrested, and they had to find somebody to come and pick them up. They left our parking lot and got into a fight. So there again, that's hours well spent that she's going to have to do statements after we get those. So to say that she's already falling behind already, it takes something as simple as that's going to take 5 or 6 hours of just dictating statements and so forth and making sure the reports get sent off. So I know it sounds kind of silly, but people do get into fights right in front of us, so it's kind of weird, but yeah.
Chris, I know I was approached by many folks on the Main Street, and then you having that traffic truck out there.
Yeah.
They really appreciate that, and myself noticing how much that slowed down traffic. The speeders is, especially when the summertime. We noticed as soon as the summer picked up how much it picked up a little bit.
I'm glad you brought that up. We did have it, where it's at now, and we did talk to. I believe Gordy talked to the guys that did the seal coating, whatever you want to call it, where they put that P-Rock on there, because they had a couple signs in town that said like max 40 or something, and it was only a 30 speed limit area. So I mean, that's kind of confusing. There was a few businesses that they were like, well, we've seen this particular truck driving through town. So I did speak with the businesses, the 2 that came into question. They have not gotten back to me, but one of the businesses actually does record their trucks even going down the road. The people have to realize, though, when you're, I know people don't generally like to hear this, but when you're saying a semi or a truck is traveling at a higher speed than the posted speed, I don't want to come out and tell people that you're completely wrong. But after doing this job for 23 years and sitting with people when they make these complaints and having them sitting in the passenger seat going, how fast do you think this guy's coming, or gal, whoever, and they'll throw a number out there like 45 miles an hour. And you turn on that radar and it says 29, You know what I mean? Or especially bigger trucks. It just, the more noise they make and the larger they are, people generally say that they're traveling faster than what they truly are. But there again, it's not that we don't, take that information. We spoke to those people. We put the speed truck out. On top of that, we issue tickets. If you look the month of May, we issued 28 tickets in just the month of May. So that's like a ticket, a day. For a city this size, that's a fair amount of tickets. I don't want to say that's too many, but the areas of concern that we generally watch are Grant Avenue and Main Street and Central. People generally complain about other streets. Oh, and I take that back. And where Gordy lives, where it's County Road 23.
Yeah.
That would be the 4 problem areas that we have. Grant Avenue, generally speaking, is more of like for the summer months. People just coming into town, maybe coming down 22, coming into Richmond to stop in. They don't exactly, it's a smooth street. It's a wide street. County Road 23, that's a 12 months out of the year problem. You could probably sit there and in one given shift, if you were to sit there, you could probably write 5 easily, in 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because, people do have issues with that, definitely call in. Public ordinance, or city ordinances is another issue that unless, a lot of times we could drive around as much as we want, but to see in people's backyards and such, it's pretty difficult, to see issues. So if somebody has issues with long grass, dogs, vehicles, things like that, let us know. We obviously have no problem taking care of those problems. I'd rather take care of it right away than become a bigger issue. So, is there anything else?
Nope.
All right. Nope. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
At this time, we'll move on to Public Works and Street Department. Gordy Dingman.
Good evening, gentlemen. Street Department. Well, we started doing our sweeping last week, and then last night took care of everything, so I was back to sweeping this morning, cleaning out catch basins. So we plan on sweeping yet tomorrow morning. I'm hoping to get that all completed again, get everything all cleaned up again. The dust control, we had our alleys and our gravel roads surfaced again this year. Kings Avenue 3rd, 4th are completed with the new tar. We, Cold Spring, Rockville, Richmond, and St. Martin, again this year we bidded our seal coating out. I think in your packets you have that $10,674.30. We'd like to get approval on that. The streets that we're talking about doing is basically First Street, right out here, First Street South. We're going to go from J to Ivy, from Ivy to Central, and we'll jump over Central because that was a new street. We'll come up here to Hall Avenue, and then from Hall Avenue we're going to go down to 3rd Street South, and then also we're going to do Ivy Avenue from 1st Street up to Main. So Cold Spring did award that bid because we did all bid it together, so we just need approval here.
How many of these streets are up for any type of construction?
These were done, I do believe, Pat, in 2000 or 99 or 2000 is when these streets were complete with water and sewer and storm. So now it's just going to be a seal coating to cap them off.
And to be done by when?
We, Cold Spring talked to the contractor. It sounds like about a month to month and a half out there behind. They're waiting for granite chips.
So basically be after River Lake Day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
After,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve $10,675.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
What would be nice though, if you would, somebody from this office, maybe make some flyers and put them in the doors saying that your street in front of your place will be seal coated from Monday through Wednesday or something, so they're not coming home with fresh tar, or or could take
It's a
it.
good idea if we could do
It's just a
something
public
like that.
relations thing. If you can just do some stuffers.
Or post it someplace too would be nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very well. And then the other thing was we always allowed $5,000 for crack filling. Nobody has applied to that yet. Cold Spring hasn't gotten nobody to come for that bid yet, but we will do it depending upon who does it.
Yep.
So we're just doing is doing 5,000. So whatever that is per pound, we're only doing $5,000 worth of crack filling. So, and we do have the maps on that. What we do is we go around to all the streets prior to the seal coating, and then we'll go back out to the other streets that haven't been done. And I do have a map since I've had the job as to what roads we've been doing, so I have a little bit of an idea. If you remember last month, we talked about the French drains. We talked about the one over on Ivy and Second, between Ivy and Second and Third over there. That one was put in. We also talked about the one on Second over by this Mark Petermeyer house. I like to pull that off of there. In other words, I don't want to do that. What happens is over by Mark's house, his house is actually fed by a private line off of Hall Avenue, and it goes right alongside of our road, right where I want to put that French drain. And what I did is I thought about it, well, if it's going to be close to his private water line and all of a sudden he has freezing issues, I want to revisit that. I want to revisit that street. So I pulled that one off. And then the next thing I have on my list was, I know that, Pat, I do believe you brought it up regarding cost for streets, since we had such a good deal, to see if we can still do some more streets. I called Knife River up. Yes, for the same price. Yes, they can come in and do some more streets if we want to. Now the thing is, which one?
Well, the way I was looking at it was the one I brought to attention, and there could be some more out there, was 3rd Street east of Ivy. Terrible shape, and there's very few sewer and water hookups on. So looking into the future, side of Schaefer, I don't believe there's gonna be another building there, you know, so I think it's worth the $6,600 to, you know, at $22 a foot it came out to do that one, because the gamble is to, you know, are they gonna have problems? If that thing lasts 10 years, that's only $600 a year to have a good road, you know, before we rip it up if sewer water. So that's what I was looking at, and that's what was one of the additions was to tar the streets, was that we visit the ones that we looked at and find out who has the minimal risk of sewer and water problems and put them to the top.
Okay, then what I did, Pat, is I went around through that list that we had. Fur Avenue, if you remember when we did the 2013 project, Fur Avenue was our detour, which was right by Herbie Thielen's.
Yep.
What I'd like to do there is do that street because there's no water in that street. There's no water and sewer in that street. And then what I would do then is, if you would approve this, then I would take that French drain that I just took away from over in Second, I'd put that down by Herbie in that low spot, and then put it there and do that road. It basically boils down to about just a little under $7,000 a block.
Right, $6,600. So you're saying, well, south on,
This is when we took off.
oh, this is when we took off.
This is when we did our
This isn't, I thought this was in priority. but
No, this is when we did our road tour.
Okay.
We did a tour.
So what I did on that list, when I gave you that in 2014, 13, 14, what I did is I put in the streets that just need mill and overlay, or the streets that we may need water in them. So it gives you a little bit of an idea of what we did when we did our road tour. So Mike's suggestion would be, if you want to pull the trigger on some more streets, would do Fur Avenue, because that was one that we got banged up a little bit on when we did our detour.
How many blocks is that?
2 blocks.
So we're talking, that could be 13.2,
Could be.
okay? Just rough figuring.
Yeah.
Any other ones?
That would be the only recommendation I got at this time.
What about the arena parking lot? We talked about that.
We mentioned that, did Kevin come in with a price or square footage or anything?
I got that.
Already have some
Okay,
You mean the arena or the?
arena parking lot.
The parking lot, you know, where the post office is, the continuation.
Yeah, where it's all run
Yeah.
out.
Pavilion parking lot.
Right, across from the ice arena. You all know what I meant.
I think we did.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that I won't even have it with me tonight. The question I had with the arena parking lot was, Do we put curb around it? On the east end? Where the post office is,
Yep.
on the east end of the parking lot, and around the detention pond, do we put curb against that? Because there's actually a drain in that parking lot.
Well, I don't believe we should have to because it doesn't go into any street or anything.
Yeah. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was right around 18,000 to do that.
To do the parking lot at the pavilion.
Ball, close.
About close, yeah.
So if you throw those two together, we're talking $31,200. If
Yep.
you're pretty close to your 18, so $30,000.
And if you want to take another step, we have a sidewalk that some people talked about from the post office going to the trail on
Right.
that side of the street. That's about $3.75 a square foot. So you're talking almost 12 to do that. 1,200 bucks.
1,200.
1,200.
Yeah.
To do the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Who, let's reel back, who's doing the 12 by 12?
Knife River.
Knife River.
They're giving the
They're giving
concrete, but are they doing the labor?
I think it's everything.
everything.
Okay.
Instead
Everything
of
is
giving
stated.
a check donation or money donation, this is how they're doing it.
Oh, they're giving them money and then we get the contractor?
No, instead of doing the money, they're doing the concrete and the labor and everything.
So they have a contractor or something that they went
They're
through?
gonna have somebody do it.
I would just suggest, let's get this thing finished. And I'm not after spending a lot of money, I'm a very conservative person, but this has been laying there since Pavilion's been up roughly 5 years. Let's get the sidewalk done, that way people can find our main street right off of our
Path?
bike trail.
Right, yeah.
And don't have to worry about anything else there. They can walk right up there without that 150 feet. That's my view on this is let's get that done. The only stipulation I would put in there is that we would then sign that parking lot, no semi parking. There's a lot of semis that pull in there and I don't know what loads they got.
There's always one or two there all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
per weekend, there's one here, one then, but like I say, we would, no semi-parking, because they would rip up a small 4-inch, without the proper base and,
And we have talked about it for a long time about that, and that's sidewalk, that's been brought up, Kevin's brought it up, and yourself have brought it up.
The parking
many
lot
years.
is prepped for tar. We have our 18 inches of class 5 on
Base, yeah,
top.
class, yeah.
Gordy, can you come bring us
Hard numbers?
hard numbers
Yep.
for our
how long did Knife River say they were gonna honor that? Another
told me that
30 days, 60 days, all summer?
Yeah, they told me no problem. If we do it yet this year, they'll honor that, so.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
and that way if you find another street or something that you have to.
Yeah,
and-
I went through and everything else that's even on there, if you kind of look at it, and the ones we did do already are off of there, but it's gonna be questionable, Even on Second Street over here, some guys probably want curb on Second Street, the first one that's on that
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
They may want curb there, but
Run down there.
anyway.
All right, bring us some hard numbers back for doing.
Right.
Yeah, I'll
And
call Knife River up
parking
and they can give us a piece of paper that says what this is and then.
Okay.
And then for the sidewalk,
Everything.
sidewalk
Lot, the
included.
sidewalk, the whole,
Well, if we
everything.
start-
And I think that might be something maybe of ourselves.
Storm sewers and everything else,
No,
it's a
no.
major project.
Right, exactly.
I think it's something
You have
maybe all of
anything-
us can maybe take a peek at too, go around, maybe take a look at ourselves. and
That's all I have tonight. Oh, and then, of course, next week is River Lake Days. I got to start doing the painting. I want to get that done. I might be doing a couple of evenings to do that. And then next weekend, of course, with River Lake Days, we're getting prepped for that too. So then that'll be same thing as all the other years. So I think there's one more street that they want to close off, and that's going to be on a Friday night, I believe, on Second Street. And I think you approved that. So that's the only thing that's going to be different from all the other times. So other than that, if you have any questions of me.
Nothing so far, Gordy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Gordy.
We'll move on. EDA, you did not have a meeting. Do you have anything to bring up?
I don't think so.
No, I think our meeting was
Planning.
canceled on the 20th, so I don't think we have anything scheduled currently for July. Do we?
I can get in touch with you once it gets closer to see if there's any
Just let me
items.
know. Yeah,
Yep.
please, thanks.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, planning commission. Tim?
Was not there.
Tessa's gonna give that report since she was here. I was,
Okay.
Planning did make the recommendation to approve the variance request for the deck that's gonna be on 58 3rd Street Southeast. That was the one where, being that the road was widened, he wasn't necessarily gonna be in compliance with the setbacks, but it will be flush with the house. So that resolution is in there to be approved.
okay.
And then the next thing, well, we wanna take care of that and then I can go into the next.
Make a motion to approve that resolution as long as it's no bigger than the house.
It isn't.
You know.
Yeah,
The
it's
steps
flush.
are, the steps are
It's in the
even pushed
motion, it's in the thing here, it's gonna be
Yep.
flush with it.
Flush with it.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, and then the next thing is these temporary family health care dwellings. We have until September 1st to decide if we're going to allow them within city limits. They're not gonna be, they're more or less little smaller buildings. They cannot be more than 300 square feet. But we need to more or less set a public hearing for August 3rd, because if we are for some reason going to opt out of this, we would need to have a public hearing and do an ordinance saying we're opting out. I would like to give you guys more time to look at the information.
Right.
And I will be emailing the link out for the law that pertains to this also, so we can discuss more of it into the next workshop. Yes, Pat?
300 square feet? Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be any bigger than 300 square feet.
20 by 15.
Uh-huh.
Size of a fish.
Yeah, they're small.
There's fish houses bigger than that.
Yes.
Don't you ever watch Tiny Homes?
I watched tree houses. Tree houses.
It's the same concept.
Yeah. So,
We used to have one of these. Used to be my great uncle over at the cemetery. He lived there for many years.
Planning Commission went pretty in depth in this, but unfortunately, they're on the fence as far as a recommendation right now. So I guess at this point, what I need is to set the public hearing. It can always be canceled if you guys want to go along with this, but that way we have the proper time for publishing it if we're gonna opt out.
I read in here that they can only be there 1 year at the maximum. Mm-hmm. What do they do for services?
Well, that's kind of
They
something we
bring in
just.
an outhouse with them? I mean,
That's it.
It's
Yeah.
almost like living off the grid. You know, if you ever go out in areas like out east or
I live
whatever,
off
where
the grid the way it is.
I know, you know what I mean. What off the grid means.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're providing all of their own necessities. I think is really what it amounts to be. So,
can be
compostable toilets, solar power, all those types of things.
So,
right?
yeah, and the option is something you guys can think of as opting out, but if you want to add something into the city's ordinance that maybe could work with it, but you have a little bit more requirements or a little more hold on what can be and what can't be done, that's up to you guys, or if you want to opt out completely, that's still in your ballpark. But I really just think if you guys spend a little time thinking on it, and like I said, I'll send the link for the law, and we can discuss it more.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all planning had, so
Anybody have any questions for Tessa?
we need to set the public hearing though.
should we make it the same night as our workshop? Oh, that's too early.
We won't have enough time for publishing. That's why I'm suggesting
Yeah.
the 3rd, because that's our next,
Okay.
This has to be done by September 1st,
it
right?
has to be done by September 1st.
so-
So that's why I figured workshop, we can discuss it more, and then you guys can have a final, which way you want to go for the 3rd.
Okay.
So does everybody agree? So we set that date for the meeting?
That's fine.
Fine with me.
Someone want to make that into a motion? Or are we okay? We don't need a motion?
God, 300
Okay,
square
then
feet.
we're fine.
Well, you get to-
Okay, no, we're good.
All right, moving on, River Lake Days, which comes up obviously the 14th, the site, Garage Hills start and all the way through the 17th. Just put it on the agenda for if there was anything else that anybody needed to add. Obviously, we as a council have to figure out what we're gonna do for the parade. And the beat goes on is the theme, so. Other than that, they didn't have nothing additional, because obviously they would be here at this time. Anybody else have anything for River Lake Days?
Do you want to discuss? Oh, we know what we're doing, right?
Right.
Okay, never mind. I don't think about it.
We more or less-
It's next week.
Pat, were you going to be part of it? I guess I didn't have a yes or no answer. That was, I think, all we were waiting on.
Okay.
So,
Give me a day yet.
okay.
I've been asked to do 2, 3 things, and I don't know if I'm going to do any of them.
That's fine.
Just let Tessa know what.
Yep.
we're
Yep.
gonna do.
I'll fill her in by the end of the week.
That'd be
Alright.
great.
At this time, request for council action,
I'll be hearing that.
purchase requisitions, allocations, or transfers. We have none. Is there any other matters concerned? Pat, you had?
Yeah, one was the pools, the other one was tarring the streets, so you hit a couple of them. The last thing is that a citizen brought up to me, and I never thought of this before, and I thought it was a very good suggestion. Since we have Tessa here, and we're starting a whole new slate, okay? That we send out a city survey. How does she know what to work on if she doesn't know what's really in the area? So we sent out a city survey rating our services, and I'm just going to start from the top. Arena services, park services, maintenance department, police department, snow plowing, fire department, rescue, 1 to 5, and then on the bottom, suggestions to improve any of them. And I think we can always try to improve our city for our people. And I don't think it would cost that much to come up with how do you, and, if they say worst, why?
Yep.
I think you
Don't
could-
they like because it was not open or something like this?
Right. I think that's something you need to probably tie into with some type of a very simple, letter format that you could tie into probably the next water and sewer bill.
Right, we,
And when's that one due? I'm like drifting here. When's the
Richmond
next
News?
one out?
Sealed
Whatever,
this
Richmond.
morning.
yeah, they have been sealed.
But they,
Yeah.
don't they come out in postcards?
City News.
There's a newsletter.
Oh,
that was going
Okay,
on.
so we missed that.
We missed this morning,
But maybe it would be good to have independent all by itself. How much is a mailing?
46 cents.
Yeah.
No. How many do we send out?
600 and some.
So we're talking $250,
Yeah.
give or take.
And that's up to you, or otherwise, I mean, I can do it with the next, we can do it next billing too. I mean, I know it's 2 months away, but
Yeah,
if you
I-
want,
Yeah.
I think since, and don't take this wrong one way, since you're new and people want to, they can bring these in.
Yeah.
And explain, and it would be a
I think
door
it's-
opener. It
Yep.
would be it's a meet and greet too.
I agree, I think it's
And
good.
and if we get them out as soon as possible, I think that $300 would be well worth it if we solve one issue in one corner of town because of that.
Sure.
Whether it be, like I say, no too fast the streets on one, or this or that. How come they don't have that that thing here, or whatever, or it's not open.
Yep.
Right.
So, but I don't know. Open up for discussion. That's what you guys think.
I'm fine with that. I'm okay. I think if there's some way that you can also post it in a format up on our city's website, could people fill it out that way just as easy and send it back to the city?
An electronic way of sending
Electronic
back.
way?
We can look into it, yep.
I mean, if we just have it available, and even though, some people like to do that a lot more than actually taking the time to read, mail and Xing out or filling out a survey that way. They just rather do it online.
My only question is if we mail out, and we also put on the website, how would we notify people that it's on the website if we'd also give them a paper one too, is what you're saying?
They can
Yeah,
respond.
they can respond.
Okay.
yeah.
Electronically.
Okay.
But they'll be notified by paper.
Okay.
And then probably put it in or drop it in the box up here if they don't want to.
Yeah, that would be fine too, sure. Yeah.
Drop it in the payment box.
Make all options available.
Yeah, and Mike's in the electronic world, but there's a lot of people here over 80 years old here that probably probably don't even own a computer.
There's a lot
So-
that do though. There's a lot they live on.
There's
I
a
think.
few, but there's
Yeah, I was just, I prefer both, obviously, yes, if you can.
Nope.
just come up with to survey everything, break it all down. We can always improve, or at least give us a direction to work on that we didn't know that there was a problem.
Yeah, if we're not told anything, we don't know.
Right.
Yep. So it's a good way for people to get that out with.
And I'm using you as an excuse to do this. Let's do it. It's something new.
Yep.
Try it different.
Okay.
So with that, I make a motion to spend up to 300 and, how many dollars?
We have about 350.
$350 in postage and paper to send out a survey to the residents of the city of Richmond and would like their opinion on various departments in the city.
I'll second his motion. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
We'll
Yeah,
vote
aye.
on this. Vote on this, yes.
Right.
Okay, it's an ayes. Okay, now what do you have?
I just want to comment from Music in the Park we had last week. I want to tell you, it was nice to see all our town people that was out there and how supportive that was. I know we had a lot of people out there, and Max and Deb were there, and they did a nice job for us. So, again, I want to thank all the people that were out there. It was one of the biggest crowds. So,
Recognizing our veterans.
yes. Oh, yeah, so then they had the Rockville Memorial out there, and anybody that has firefighters, law enforcement, veterans anyway, contact them within the next few days. I think they said they were taking a list of people, I don't know, I'm not sure, but
It's over with by the first.
was it by the first? Okay, but
I think
that
it
was
was,
nice.
but I think they might take it.
that was nice, that was a really nice tribute that they did out there, so,
Yep.
very nice, so. That's all I got.
Thanks, Jim. Anything else? Otherwise, the meeting is adjourned.